Okay, this class is Le'ilui Nishmas Rachalei Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. Okay, we're continuing on with Malas HaTorah. We left off last time by talking about why the Yetzer Hara is going to go after us by trying to get us to indulge in sins of speech. We spoke about how the Sitra Achra draws its energy from holiness, and that speech is in a unique place. So we're continuing from that point. Vikar achizat ba'adam b'shtei mekamot b'vrit ha'lashon u'vrit ha'ma'or shel haguf husasam ve'en bo bik'ah liot yonek b'kedusha shebo rak b'shnei mekamot elu. So the two places where the Yetzer Hara is most active is in speech and in sexual desire, both of which are referred to as having a bris, of having a covenant. Bris Mila and the Bris Halashon. So there's a relationship, he tells us, between the covenant of Mila and the covenant of the tongue. If a person speaks badly, that could take them all the way down to disintegrating till they become promiscuous because they defile themselves. They think of themselves as valueless and of other people as valueless, at which point the physical side of their bodies takes over their self-definition. As it says, don't let your mouth cause your flesh to sin. When a person's mouth is sanctified by Torah, meaning he sees himself and the other person and the world as the place that's uplifted, because that's the effect of Torah, as lo bali de avonze, he won't come to this sin. K'mo shenemar, v'saveya yalin ba yifaked ra. When a person is when satisfaction is with a person, evil doesn't befall them. V'amru kol hamaspia atzmo b'divrei Torah v'chulei. So a person who satisfies himself with divrei Torah, etc., isn't going to look for satisfaction through sins of the flesh. Shiranik v'amisha pogem habrit. A person is called evil if they do sins of promiscuity. Shu etzem ra ha'orla hamakefet et habrit, which means that they relate to things externally, which is what the orla that surrounds the brit is about. K'mo shenemar, vahi er b'cho Yehuda ra. And so one of the first times we have a person, as opposed to the whole city of stone, which was described as Ra previously, an individual described as Ra, is in the story of Er. So you might remember the story of Er. Yehuda had two sons, Er and Onan. Er was married to Tamar. He didn't want her beauty to be marred by pregnancy. So in order to avoid pregnancy, when they were together, he would cause the sea to spill on the earth. As afterwards Tamar married Onan, who did the same. So he's called Ra. This is evil. Why is it evil? Because he's taking life force and degrading it. So similarly, when a person speaks evil, they're taking life force, communication, connection between two people and degrading it. So the Yetzer Hara is primarily strong in these two areas. So the Gemara tells us, when it's talking about sin, many people, for instance, are dishonest with money, but they all speak at least avak lashon hara. What's avak lashon hara, which means literally the dust of lashon hara? Saying an equivocal statement that a person could understand positively or negatively, but in your heart you want them to understand it negatively, but you will say, oh, I didn't really say anything bad. That sort of thing. Okay, v'yotav v'tul Torah, and also in learning Torah, all people are negligent. L'chen amru rabotenu ma umanato shel adam ba'olam hazeh yaseh atzmo ki'ileim. What's the greatest skill a person could learn in this world? Now you ask this question if there was an actual person standing there. There are all sorts of skills. The greatest skill, he tells us, is silence. Shenemar hu'umnam elem tzedek tadaberim. Is it so that the silent one shall speak justice? Shu haTorah nikret tzedek. The Torah itself is called tzedek. V'amar Rabbeinu zal beperek haboneh, mem ptucha mem stumar. Mamar patuach mamar satum. Shetzarich b'Torah sheyeh mamar patuach, v'lashon hara mamar satum. So the Gemara says, look at the word mem. The word mem has one mem that's open and one mem that's closed. So I should tell you that one kind of speech should be open and the other kind of speech should be closed. The speech of Torah should be open and the speech of Lashon Hara should be closed. V'chein shnitna brit milah la'Avraham nitosef lo otei b'shmo she'otei remez al haTorah k'mo she'amru Rabbeinu zal al pasuk Yom HaShishi Tana Hitna neged hamisha chumshei Torah. So similarly, if you're talking about the way things are conveyed, when Avram was given the mitzvah of Brit Milah, the letter Hey was added to his name. So he previously was called Avram, now he's called Avraham. So this Hey also hints at Torah. How does the letter Hey hint at Torah? So he tells us way back in Chumash Bereshis, it says Yom HaShishi, that the culmination of all creation is the day that's called the sixth day, the day in which the five, which is what Hey is in Gematria, Chumashim of the Torah were given. V'heim neged chamesh ma'ot peh shetzarich she'yakdishem b'Torah. So the five Chumashim parallel the five aspects of speech that are sanctified through learning. What are they? To speak, you have to use five parts of your mouth: the tongue, the teeth, the lips, the larynx, and the palate. So these five are called the five Mo'atzot HaPeh. And different letters of the alphabet are formed by each one of them, so each letter has a different power. And all of them are sanctified through the Torah. Shebok Talik Kedusha Tabrit. And the Torah is, of course, what gave us any concept of having Kedusha of the Brit itself. L'chen gam b'peh nikra arel sfatayim. And that's why the same word is used for an uncircumcised man as would be used for a person who speaks in an unlimited way without the Torah putting in its restrictions. The word that's used in both cases is arel. Arel means covered with something. So in the case of Brit Milah, it's covered with the foreskin. In the case of the mouth, an arel peh is somebody whose mouth, it's the opening that should be there for Torah, for tefillah, is blocked by every form of tumah that causes the lashon hara to come about. V'sham ikar amidat hayetzara shesham petach haguf. So the Yetzer Hara is there because it's the opening of the body. V'zeh shamru Rabboteinu b'Masechet Menachot al pasuk v'aleu l'trufa la'tir peh shel mala v'shel mata ki mayim chaim sheyetzu miYerushalayim atid lavo ramez la'asagat haTorah b'shleimut k'mo shenemar v'chol panayach limudei Hashem she'aTorah nimshala l'mayim k'mo she'amru Rabboteinu v'hem chidushei Torah sheyetzu mito yitbarach k'mo shenemar u'melchaseh atik. So he goes on and he tells us this, that there are two openings of the body. Okay, and a person needs to be guarded and to see that they're instructed in both. And if they are, okay, if the Torah is there and it's within them, the Torah itself is compared to water that gives life. And that each person has a chelik in this, just like each person has a body. So what vivifies us the most? The chidushim that Hashem Himself made. Meaning He gave us the Torah, and He included in it chidushim that He created, but are meant to be discovered by us slowly throughout the ages. So today, if let's say a Talmud Chacham finds a chidush, that chidush was planted there by Hashem. It was only meant to come forth now, but it was planted there by Hashem. So if the chidush is true, the delight the person has from seeing reality unfold, aha, here's a new piece of reality that nobody ever saw before. That's huge. So it's called the tree of life. Ki yotzek mimayim chayim, because it comes forth from these living waters, the same way a tree is nurtured by water. Uvezeh yitangu nafshashot hatzadikim la'atid lavo, and this is going to be the delight of the tzaddikim in the future. Kama Adam Harishon began Eden. They'll be like Adam Harishon in the Garden of Eden. Ilo haya ochel me'etz hachaim. If he would not have eaten from the tree of life, which he was forbidden to eat from. So what we're saying then is that when a person discovers a new aspect of truth that nobody else has discovered before, that feeling of aha, I've got it, is coming from a place that's real. It's not just kavod, it's not just a feeling of achievement. It's the actual resonance of truth. So at that point, the person's simcha is huge. Okay, so why is this relevant to us, you may be wondering. So, as women who presumably don't do that much in the way of Chidushei Torah. So the idea there is that Torah is an unfolding process. So the same way there are Chidushim in Torah that have yet to be discovered, that will be discovered tomorrow and weren't known today. Interpretations of Torah in the world of action are continually new. Today you'll have choices to make that nobody in the world ever had to make before. So if you know Torah, you know the response. Okay, nobody ever lived the day you live today. It's a completely new and unique day. So you have to know the responses of it. And the joy of knowing the right response for the right situation is the joy of Chiddush. Me'achar sheyusra ha'orla, shesham lo yeh od yetzara ba'olam, v'chol dibrum shel adam lo yeh ela b'Torah levad. So in the future, the orla of the world is removed. There's no more Yetzer Hara, and our speech will be speech of truth, speech of Torah. V'gam la'atir peh shel mata, sheyusar ha'orla min habrit, sheyusar ha'orla min habrit, v'adam harishon kodem achid kativ beh, v'yu adam b'ishto arumim v'lo yitboshashu. So another thing is that not only is there orla of the mouth, but there is orla of the brit. Now Adam, before the sin, had no sense of shame concerning sexual activity. It says he and his wife were naked and they had no shame. No shame. Why? Because the Kedusha was the definitive of the sexual organ, the same way as it could be and should be even now, that Kedusha can be and in the future will be the definition of all of our speech. Okay, so now we're going to go back a little bit to the Vilna Gaon's brother before we get to a new idea. Just one second. Ki heim b'fchina achad. These are both one thing. Okay, what are the both that are one thing? I have to take you back a little further. I made a mistake and I had my note in the wrong place. Okay, just one second. K'moshe katuv lepetach hatat ravet. The Yetzer Hara crouches at the opening of the mouth, the opening of the brit. Rotzelo mashu potech et piv b'chatat ravet. Kativ shomer piv v'leshana shomer shemitzos nafsho. We said this already. A request that we make all of the time. Guard my tongue from evil and my lips from speaking falsely. Meaning, in order for you to achieve all of the things we've just said, which is knowing enough Torah to know how to respond, you have to ask Hashem for help. V'kativ kol amal ha'adam lefihu. All of the toil of a man goes by his mouth. Meaning, the direction that we take in life and our self-definition comes to the surface through our speech. Varigas ha'yetzer hara al yedei yira. Now, to kill this Yetzer Hara, you have to have yirat Hashem. V'kasher la'asot v'shelo la'asot. It's hard to get the yira and it's hard to live without it. And through getting one's yirat shamayim involved in the picture enough that you want to at least drag the Yetzer Hara into the base midrash, that breaks the Yetzer Hara. As it says in the Yosef story, I fear Hashem. What's the connection between this and the Yosef story? So let's go back to what was going on in the Yosef story at that point. So Yosef got the brothers down to Egypt. The way he got them down was by demanding to see Binyamin. Okay, Binyamin comes with his brothers. They go home after purchasing rain and food. Yosef had a servant implant his silver cup, his divining cup in Binyamin's pack. He then demands to know what happened to it, basically accuses them of theft. It's found in Binyamin's pack. Okay, a terrible tragedy. So what does this have to do with anything? At that point, they were so shocked. Before he actually began the search, he said, whoever you find, if you find this cup in our packs, we shall all be your slaves. To which Yosef replied, says, no, the one who stole shall be my slaves. I fear Hashem. So fear means having a sense of Hashem's imminence and constantly questioning yourself, what does he want of me at this moment? So it means that your will and Hashem's will have to be alleged. Shebezeh shavaret v'tzano. That's how you could break your will. Ukativ ataya dati ki yarei Elokim ata. Hashem said to Avram after the Akedah, now I know that you're a Yarei Elokim. How does Hashem know that after the Akedah? What was so remarkable about the Akedah? Put it in words. So what the author says here is B'ma sheshover et ritzono. That's what it is. He wanted to kill his only son. If you could force the Yetzer Tov upon the Yetzer Hara, then you'll get to Yira. And you get, if a person achieves Yiras Hashem, he's going to be rewarded from more than one angle. How do we know this? We know it because the phrase is repeated no fewer than 52 times in the Torah. Fear Hashem. L'chen gam shmiya nitkabla b'Torah nun bet pa'amim. The same is hold true for hearing. Came b'fchina echad, because they're one. Hayira v'ashmiya, kamo shekatuv, avadon u'mavis amru ba'oznenu shamanu shema. So it says that the people were speaking badly. They were saying, destruction and death is in our hands. Okay, this is their bragging. Okay, and we go on from there to say that it was important to them to be heard. So Yira actually is connected to Shmiya. So what that means is that if you want to know how much Yiras Hashem you have, examine how you interpret what you hear. Are you hearing it on His terms? The Yira that we're talking about, which is authentic Yira, is the Yira that brings about every form of divine service. Now we'll go in our notes of Or Torah. A person will never have Yira without knowing Torah. You can't know who the king is and what he wants unless you read the letter he sends you. Ein bo yirei chet. An ignorant person can't fear sin. Ki al yedei HaTorah masig ramumuto yitbarach shemo v'gadluto v'tuvo v'chasto im hanivraim. So in addition to knowing what to do, which is the idea of reading the letter, the narratives in the Torah also tell us who Hashem is. So it tells us when you learn Torah, when you learn the narrative parts especially, you learn His name, His greatness, His goodness, His kindness with His creations. So if a person really integrates that, then the next step isn't important. Should it be for the Jews only or should it be for anyone? It is accessible to anyone, which is a tragedy. כשאמרו לא דיבר אתה עמנו ונשמע, אמר להם אל תירא, כי לעבור נסות אתכם וכולי, לעבור תהיה יראתו על פניכם לבלתי תחתו. So Hashem said purposely in the desert, so this it says overtly that it's on purpose, that I gave you all of this, meaning all of the different nisyonos in the desert, in order to test you. So it means the only way you could pass this test is if you know enough Torah to know what to do in the moment of test. So you have many tragedies that took place where well-intended people just didn't know what to do. So the one that comes to me, to my mind right now most readily, is the terrible story of Yiftach's daughter, where Pinchas ben Elazar was the Kohen of the time, and he could have consulted about her actual condition and how it happened, v'chule. But that would require stepping on somebody else's toes. Who was in charge of that? Who was that? Elazar. Okay, so you have Pinchas and Elazar in the same generation. Okay, and not making the Torah known. So the reason for this is that they saw erroneously that there's a place that each one had to take. But ideally, a person's sense of Torah should be so great that you make it heard no matter what. Okay, Shama Moshe Rabbeinu olav Hashalom Yisrael be'ed matan Torah, as Moshe said, Kishamu lo daber ata imanu v'nishma'a. They said to him, you speak and we'll hear. Amar lehem al tiro, ki lebavur nasot etchem. He said, don't be afraid, because this was just a test. Bavur tieh yirato al panechem, in order that you have authentic fear of God. So that feeling of inner trembling that we had at Matan Torah, which is what inspires us to want to know the Torah, is what we have to come to. Ki as hasigu kol haTorah shenichlel prateha v'diktukeha b'chol haTarach otiyot shebo katuv. So the Torah that they received there at Matan Torah was the whole Torah. It was every detail, every nuance, every form of light that could be included in the Ten Commandments. And that's how, at that time, the Jews who were receiving Torah had real Yirat Hashem. So what does that say to us in our lives? Let's bring this into our lives. We live lives in which, by the nature of things, and is appropriate, we're in the physical world a lot. We get up, we think about food, what do you have to put on for breakfast, you need to go to the store. So that even when you're davening, already food was there first. Okay, and then you go on, and there's cooking, and should I throw up a wash, and then there's work, whatever it is. So Torah means being able to listen to Torah, real shmiya. It's our only hope. The only way we could hope to have a sense of Hashem's presence in the Gashmi world is through really listening for that voice. Ki makor ha-Torah hu b'yira, k'mo shamru mipi gvura shamanu, k'mo shenemar v'yidaber elokim, v'yidaber elokim v'chulei, u'gvura hu b'gematria yira. So it says that Hashem spoke to us himself. The word that's used in the Gemara is mipi ha-gvura, which literally means from the mouth of the one who's most strong. But the word gvura in gematria is the word yira, saying that words of Torah invariably lead you to Yira. It's not possible that they shouldn't. Why? Because within Torah, all of the greatness of Hashem is concealed. Okay. Second. Let's go back to our source. V'kadosh Baruch Hu eino mevakesh rak ha'yira. All Hashem wants from us is Yira. Because it takes you to everywhere. Kira miviyali de halicha bedarke Hashem. Ula'ava udveket l'chol hamitzvot. Real Yirat Hashem, which is again this inner trembling before His greatness. It takes you to several addresses. Let's look at them. The first thing he says that Yira will definitely take you to is coming to a place where you respond. The first thing is response. Okay, so that means love, that means dvekus, that means knowing the mitzvot. So it means the way that you approach a mitzvah, once you know, is that you could let it take you to ahava. You could let it take you to love of Hashem. So fear, which is this inner trembling before Hashem, could lead to love. So I want to tell you a rule. There's such a thing as fear without love, but there's no such thing as love without fear. How is it? Real fear of Hashem is not fear of the punishments, it's fear of Him, the inner trembling, as we said. That's what gives you some knowledge of who He is. Once you know Hashem, you could love Him or not love Him. But if you just say, I love Hashem, who's Hashem? You never thought, you didn't learn, you don't know. So Torah is what opens you up to knowing Hashem, because it's His will and wisdom. And therefore it's the key to any level of dvekus at all. taking this further, in order to get to Yirat Hashem, where you have this inner trembling before Hashem's greatness, you need humility. Why do you need humility? Because otherwise your page is full of who? Yourself. Ulidei tshuva, and a nava also leads to tshuva, because you can't possibly change something if you're unwilling to admit the possibility of your own imperfection. Shekatuv az yikana levavam ha'arel vaz yirtzu avonam. So notice there's another form of orla. We spoke about orla of the mouth, orla of the flesh. Now we're getting a new kind of orla. What's that? Orla of the heart. What's that? Emotional dullness, where you can't reach Hashem, where there is no trembling, where you say the words and the words are cold. So what changes that? Another changes that. When you see your own smallness, how small and beloved you are, how Hashem sustains you and gives you everything you need and always has, that opens you up to trembling before Him, and it opens you up to tshuva. Because once you have anava, you don't have to see yourself as perfect. Ubezeh mekayem kol ha-mitzvot. And this takes you to observing all of the mitzvot. Umaltim et orlat levavchem v'orpchem lo takshu od. You'll circumcise the orla of your heart, and your necks will no longer be stiff. So what's stiff-neckedness about? We know we're called a stiff-necked people. The function of the neck is to bind the mind with the body. That's why you have a neck. If you were a neck, that's what you would do all day. So a stiff neck seems to be a very good thing on the surface. Yes, your mind should always be bound to your body. You shouldn't just be acting without thinking, as we said many times. A stiff neck is when you have your thoughts, not Hashem's thoughts. And you let that influence your body without entertaining the possibility that maybe there's more than your thoughts. So if you think about people who are unreasonable and stubborn, any of you ever drive with a man? Okay, whatever. That means that they're unwilling to entertain the thought of being wrong. So the more humble you are, the more it's okay to be wrong. It's not terrible to be wrong. Kamo shekatuv, yan rach levavcha, as it says, indeed, soften your hearts v'tikana, and submit. V'gam al yidei hachna'a bal yidei ahava, and the submission takes you to love. Why? Because if you submit to Hashem, you see yourself as small and He is big. Not only do you fear Him because of His enormity, but you love Him because of how much He considers you and is involved in your life, in spite of your smallness. Kamo shekatuv, umal Hashem et levavcha v'et levav zarecha, la'avat Hashem elokecha va'ava nichpala b'torat yud chet pamim. So it says, and you'll circumcise your heart and the hearts of your children. This is the Remez of Elul, as you remember, to love Hashem. And love of Hashem is repeated in the Torah 18 times. So what does that tell us? So what that tells us is that love is life. Ukvar katavnu she'ikar hadveikut hu be'esek haTorah shehevel pivyet barach. So he repeats what he's already told us. If you love Hashem, you want connection to Him, and that means you want to hear what He says. So when you study Torah, it's as though you're kissing Hashem. Why is it like a kiss? Because a kiss is an attachment between one spirit with another. So unlike other things that are involved in physical pleasure, kissing in and of itself doesn't give anybody pleasure. It's the feeling of connection that gives pleasure. That's why, as I mentioned sometimes, we don't buy mini dental plungers to give ourselves the feeling of being kissed. Kamo shekatuv b'Zohar HaKodesh b'dibro shel ha'adam b'Torah hu etzem hadibur hayotze mipi HaKodesh Baruch Hu. When a person is speaking out Torah, they're speaking out Hashem's words. So the words of Torah are as though they came out this moment from Hashem's mouth. So that's communication. So again, let's listen to the path. In order for us to overcome the Yetzer Hara, we have to realize that its repository is in the mouth and in the Orlas HaBasar. in order to get past the blockages that are there, okay, which are very difficult, we need yira. Yira comes from what? Yira comes from feeling Hashem's enormity. In order to feel Hashem's enormity, we need to humble ourselves, which leads us both to yira, to tshuva, and to ahava. And ahava inspires us what? To know Hashem's word even more. V'hu ma she'amar Shlomo HaMelech alav hashalom b'shir Hashem yeshakeni minashikot pihu. It says Hashem kissed us with the kisses of our lips. What are the kisses of Hashem's lips? The Torah itself. V'hu remez the Torah shebichtav. Hei chamushe Torah v'Torah shebal peh vav stidorim. So notice it says, He kissed us with the kisses of His mouth. Pihu. Another word of saying His mouth would have been piv, which is much simpler. But it says pihu purposely, to add the letters that tell us exactly what this is about. The extra letters are the Hey and the Vav. The Hey hints at the Chumashim, 5 Chumashim, and the Vav at Torah Shebal Peh, which are sourced in the Mishnah, which has 6 parts. Pihu. Uvezel mitchaber mo yitbarach b'neshikin. So when you learn Chumash or you learn Mishnah, then it's your mouth, the mouth that's speaking, that's with Hashem, as though there's a kiss, kechasan v'lakala, like the kiss of a groom to his bride. Shehu haTorah hamurasa liYisrael, and this is what's meant when we say that the Torah is engaged to Yisrael. Kamo shenemar, ki Hashem yiten chachma b'fiz v'das u'tvuna. That Hashem puts in a person's mouth knowledge and understanding. Where? In the mouth. So there's intimacy when you learn Torah. V'al zeh ramaz hakatuv kamo shamar v'dafka bo. There's another hint in the word v'dafka bo. Rotzeh lomar lechaber Torah shebal peh im Torah shebichtav ayidei yud gimel midot haTorah shenidreshet bahem k'minyan ahava ve'echad. So attachment comes through finding the place in us that wants to attach Torah shebichtav, what He said to us, with Torah shebal peh, using the words that we know, our self-created words, to draw it out and to find its details. So when you make it one, the word for one, echad, and ava share a common gematria, the number 13, which is the number of ways in which in earlier times the Torah shebichtav could be connected to the Torah shebal peh, through 13 laws of logic. V'al zeh remez Shlomo HaMelech alav hashalom, ozen shomat v'ayin ro'ah, Hashem asa gam shnehem. This is hinted by Shlomo, who says that there's an eye that sees, and an ear that hears and an eye that sees, and Hashem made both of them. Al tev shela pen tivaresh. He says, don't love sleep because you'll be impoverished. Pikach enecha v'sava lechem. Open your eyes and have the bread you need. What do all these psukim mean? So this is telling you that Hashem created the eye and the ear in a person to use for His work. His eye should see Torah, His ear should hear Torah. His ear should hear the Torah shebal peh, and His eye should see the Torah shebichtav. So therefore it says, don't love sleeping because you'll be impoverished. The worst poverty is poverty of the mind. When a person is impoverished in his mind, he's living a life that's very limited. So one of the great obstacles is sleep. So what is this? Is don't sleep because you'll be impoverished. You have to sleep. What, you have a choice to sleep? You have to sleep. But there are 2 kinds of sleep. One is actual physical sleep that we do hours and hours every day, maybe 8 hours, maybe not, but maybe yes. But the other is, it says in Shir HaShirim, Ani yesheni v'libi er. I am asleep, but my heart's awake. There's lack of awareness, lack of consciousness. So lack of consciousness is what causes you not to ask, who could I be at this moment? Where is Hashem taking me in this moment? What does the Torah tell me in this moment? Lack of consciousness means, oh, here's another moment. Guess it's going to float by just like the moment before and the moment before that. There are people who sleep through life. Okay, so Aniyas Hadas, Aniyas HaTorah, open your eyes, be satisfied with bread. What bread? This is the bread of Torah. Now the word for bread is the same word as the word for war. What's the connection? I practically hear someone saying, well, people make war for bread. No. It's a struggle to get bread from the earth. It's not like picking an orange off a tree where here's the orange, here's the tree. To make bread, there are 11 steps, as you know from the laws of Shabbos. You have to plow and you have to plant. Till you get a loaf of bread, it's 11 steps. All of which require human ingenuity. An animal will never bake bread. So, it's a struggle. It's a struggle like war. So when it says eat the bread of Torah, it means struggle the struggle of Torah. Do battle for Torah. So how do you do battle for Torah? The way you do battle for Torah is fighting with yourself. It's self against self for the sake of truth. It means you could have an idea. Yes, you've got it. This is what Hashem wants. This is halacha. And you look it over and say, maybe not. Or you make a point and somebody asks a question. And in the light of the question, you realize the point you made has really no basis. So to fight the fight of Torah, you have to be honest. So you find, there's a long Ramban, for instance, it's in Shas, long page, and at the end he says, everything I write here is wrong. He became convinced on his own that there was a flaw in his argument, but he presented his argument so that other people wouldn't go down the same path. And he presented the flaw. Okay, there are many such stories of what it means to learn Torah with honesty. People, great Rosh Yeshiva, who in the middle of a shiur, a student would raise his hand but say, but wait a minute, isn't that a contradiction to that? And he'll say, yes, my shiur is flawed, and step down. You would never in a million years see this in an academic setting. So in order to be there, to want to learn Torah in that way, to fight the good fight, this takes us back to the circle, you have to have anava. You have to have anava. You have to have humility. Okay, let's go back into anava now. Okay, one moment. V'ita b'gemara. Kol hazoveach et yitzro v'hitvadeh alav ki'ilu mechabed lakadosh baruch hu bebet olamot. Anyone who slaughters his Yetzer Hara and confesses before Hashem, meaning confesses his sins, honors Hashem in two worlds. Kamo shekatuv zoveach toda yichbedanani. One who slaughters a korban toda, an offering of gratitude, has honored me, but it doesn't say kabdeni, but kabdanani, an extra letter to suggest that it's in two worlds. V'nimtza mitzvah aseh lechabed. And we see that there is a mitzvah, a positive mitzvah to give honor. I'll be honored in the face of all of the people. To fear Hashem, okay, His name, which is most honored and awesome. So all of the psukim He's taking us to now is telling us that the core of anava is giving honor to Hashem. Give honor to Hashem your God. Havu Hashem kavod. Bring kavod to Hashem, ba'oz and strength. Simna kavod Hashem. Please put kavod to Hashem. V'tein lo Torah. V'nimtza yidei zeh mekayim mitzvot havidui. When you give kavod to Hashem, then automatically, if you really see Hashem's greatness on any level whatsoever, of course there's charata of all of the times that you failed to listen to Him. You'll feel all of the regret. You'll feel all of the need to confess and to gain forgiveness, as is repeated many times. The more kavod that you give Hashem, the more kavod you have. Meaning, the more you see Hashem's greatness, the more you expect from yourself. Shene'amar, mechabdi achabed. Hashem says, those who honor me, I shall honor. So I want you to understand this. On one hand, we're talking about anava. And on the other hand, suddenly we're talking about respecting yourself. Is there not a paradox? Is this not mutually exclusive. No. Again, anava doesn't mean low self-esteem. Anava means seeing yourself as small and beloved. Beloved because there's something in you that's real and significant and honorable. What part is that? The part that's like Hashem within you. So with that attitude, you could begin to have a relationship. Uketiv, Oshe v'kavod iti, Hashem says, all wealth, all kavod is with me. V'al yidei zeh zocha la'avodah, okay, and through this, meaning through anava, you're worthy of serving Hashem and Yira. K'mo shekatuv lifnei kavod anava. Before you have kavod, you must have anava. Uketiv ekev anava yirat Hashem. The heel of anava, on the heels of anava, is yirat Hashem. K'mo she'amru chachamenu zal b'mishneh, as it says in Pirkei Avos, Umo bashto anava v'yira. Hashem is garbed in both anava and awe. Ma shekatuv u'malbishto anava v'yira, k'mo shekatavnu l'mala she'Torah nikret malbusho. The Torah is Hashem's garment. So we learn out Hashem's anava and the way to have yirat Hashem through the way He reveals Himself to us in the Torah. Otherwise we have no idea of who He is. Because it's through the Torah that He revealed Himself to His creations. And it's through the Torah that He created them, and gives them life and providence, and has providence over them. Huwa Torah, because the Torah is the plan with which He created the world. And as we said earlier, the Torah is Hashem's vehicle of self-revelation. It's all one great divine name. So when you're learning Torah, you're wearing His garment. Which garment? Anava, that He lowers Himself to speak to us. Yira, that He makes Himself accessible to us. So the Torah is the source of anava. Okay, but we have to add something before we conclude. There is a condition here that I would like to add, although it's not stated over here, which is, in order to get the anava that the Torah could bring you, you have to want it. So that means there has to be at least some place within you in which you demand of yourself to see yourself as small and beloved. One of the most tragic things that could happen, and a person could excel in Torah study, they could know it all, but if they aren't willing to step out of self, it just becomes a feather in their cap, lo aleinu. So this is what you see sometimes when people learn Torah in an academic setting, in the university. And you could ask, here you have the professor of Talmud. Where's his anava? Where's his yira? And the answer is that Hashem takes you down the road that you want to go. So we should be worthy, not only of learning Torah and hearing of Torah, but wanting to hear it from a place of yira, anava, that will take us to still higher yira and to dvekas. Have a good week.